welcome to the new ref21 blog. Glad you found your way here. We're at Twin Lakes in South Mississippi. We're at a conference together, and I have three of my friends with me. Ligon Duncan is with me, a new blogger to ref21, and I'll introduce him to you in a second. Sean Lucas, and Carl Trueman is here with me too. I also want to tell you that we're introducing three other new bloggers. In addition to Sean Lucas, we're introducing Thabiti Anambwili to you from the Cayman Islands. And we'll have more to say about him and an interview with him, a written interview with him within the next few weeks. Ian D. Campbell is joining us all the way from the north of Scotland, from the island of Lewis, and in the blog in ref21 at this time there is an interview with Ian D. Campbell, and we're also going to be introducing Steve Nichols to the ref21 blog. But today I have these three gentlemen with me here, my dear friends, and I want to introduce first of all Ligon Duncan, the president of the Alliance for Confessing Evangelicals, who, Ligon, you have written a brand new book. It's the result of a series of sermons, special sermons that you've done just in the last few months or so, and the book has come out very quickly after you've preached these sermons, called Fear Not, and I want you to tell us a little bit about that book.
Well, thank you, Derek. I have just recently had a book that's come into print. A Christian Focus publication produced it. My dear friend and intern Nick Reed did all of the editorial work on it for me. About a year ago, it was agreed, because of some things that were happening in the life of the church, that it would actually be very helpful to do a special series of messages on a Christian view, a biblical view of death and the afterlife. And so on a succession of 5 consecutive Thursdays, I did a biblical exposition where I tried to cover the basic doctrinal ground of Bible's teaching about death and the afterlife, and that series was responded to very, very well. We had a lot of visitors that attended. It gave me a great opportunity to present the gospel and press the claims of Christ, and after it was over, I had a number of people say that they thought that the material really ought to be gathered together and put in some sort of form that others could use. And so Nick Reed labored at that and put the manuscript on my desk, and we worked over it with the editors at Christian Focus, and it's in print now, so we're very thankful for that.
I also want to introduce Carl Trueman. Everyone at the ref21 blog knows Carl Trueman and maybe some of his aliases, but he's here as Carl Trueman today. You've been speaking to the conference here at Twin Lakes, and maybe I should say something about the conference at Twin Lakes. It's an annual conference. It's been running for, what, 6, 7?
8 years.
8 years now, and about a couple of hundred, 250 men have gathered from all over the United States, mainly from the Presbyterian Church in America, the PCA, but we have had a telephone interview with Thabiti Anambwili from the Cayman Islands, who is, as he referred to himself, the token Baptist at the conference. And we've had a wonderful, wonderful time. Carl has been here speaking this morning on the Heidelberg Catechism, but Carl also has just published a sort of sequel, another book called The Minority Report, also published by Christian Focus Publications, and it's a sequel to the first volume, the title of which I can't remember. What's the title of the first volume?
The Wages
of Spin. The Wages of Spin, of course. Your column in the ref21 site. Tell us about the Minority Report, and what I want you to tell me is, what is the most offensive thing that you've written in the Minority Report?
The book is a collection of more or less random pieces that I've written and published or given as lectures over the years, addressing various aspects of contemporary culture relative to Reformed and evangelical theology. As to the most offensive comment I make in it, I'm trying to say so many offensive comments, so little time. I think if you have no taste in music, then obviously my use of classic rock music like The Who and Led Zeppelin to make certain points would prove to be somewhat offensive. If you're a Republican, virtually anything I write is offensive, and I think if you're an American, probably the same applies too.
Carl, we know that you've been passing through some difficult times in recent days, as Carl is the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Westminster Seminary, and our hearts have been going out to you. We know that you've been passing through a difficult time, and we've been much in prayer for you, and I know you don't want to speak about that on camera to the internet and the wide world, but we just want to convey to you that we've been praying for you. It's good to see you here this afternoon. Sean, welcome. Welcome to this elite little club called the ref21 blog, and I am personally delighted. It was a hard negotiation to get Sean to join, and eventually he came begging at the door to join, and we've allowed him through the back door to come into the ref21 blog. He and Steve Nichols are close friends, and we're looking forward to some banter between you and Steve, but I want some banter here today because you are an author of a book on Dabney. Now, I want to tell you, Sean, that in 1978, I was in Tinkling Springs. In Britain, the verb to tinkle is a little tricky, especially for a polite Christian, but I have been in Tinkling Springs. Now, tell our audience here the significance of Tinkling Springs.
Well, Tinkling Springs was a little small town outside of Augusta, Virginia, and that was the town that Dabney pastored in from 1848 to 1853 before he went to Union Seminary in Virginia. But the most notable thing about Dabney, of course, was when I defended my dissertation at Westminster Theological Seminary, my dear friend and colleague sitting to the right of me, Carl Trueman, was on my committee, and the great question that he asked me was, why should I bother reading Dabney if it's all in Charles Hodge? To which I said, well, I think you're right. You don't need to read him. And he said, good. So, so there you go.
What is it about Southern theologians, Dabney, Thornwell, Girardeau, Palmer, what is it that distinguishes them from, say, Hodge or Shedd?
One of the reasons I'm interested in Presbyterianism in the South and more largely religion in the American South is because it's very helpful to get at Christianity and culture issues. As Ligon has pointed out even this past week, we can't help but teach and preach and live in a particular cultural moment and cultural context. Sometimes it's hard for us to see our moment truly and accurately. So one of the helpful ways of doing that is historical study, paying attention to the theological development in a particular era or time and trying to live in that moment can help us see some of the cultural blind spots in our own time as we seek to live in faithfulness to what God's called us to be and do for this world. So that's why I'm really interested both in 19th century Southern Presbyterians and 20th century Southern Presbyterians. That's who I'm working on right now, a book called For a Continuing Church, Southern Presbyterians and Fundamentalism from 1934 to 74, which is essentially the story of how the PCA came to be.